Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up or by writing a comment. It does help with the algorithms. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. I thought I'd make something a bit different. I know this is normally the time of year where people make the price prediction videos and everyone talks about where they think this coin is going to go to. You should by now understand which coin I am most bullish on. So I thought I'd make a video about what I'd like to actually see over the course of 2021. This has been an incredibly weird year, up and down from beginning to end. And the cryptocurrency market has also done exceedingly well. At the same exact time, a lot of things have been predicted, spoken about, discussed, or other proposals have been kind of put forward for things within the cryptocurrency space. So I'm basically going to talk about what I hope actually happens next year, as opposed to, you know, Litecoin is going to go to 98 bajillion US dollars. Of course, for those of you not looking at the screen, I want to see exactly how well Bitcoin is going to do. I've been in the cryptocurrency space for quite a long amount of time, and I remember hearing the whispers of where Bitcoin could potentially go. I mean, this goes back to, it was like 7 or 8 years at this point. I've mentioned it before in other videos that I've been quite fascinated with the idea that a lot of the predictions, if you will, for Bitcoin, not even Bitcoin's price, just actual adoption, have just about all come true, even to the point of banks adopting Bitcoin, which was seen as, you know, in 2015, that was like, that's not a thing. Banks are never going to adopt Bitcoin. Institutions, family offices, pension funds, and now we have whispers, usually probably truthpers, not a word, of governments also buying up Bitcoin. So when we get to discussing the fact that multiple banks have come forward this year to discuss that Bitcoin in 2021 is going to be anywhere from 100,000, 150,000, 288,000, 300,000, and I think the highest one that we saw was $400,000. I mean, of course, you know, I would like to see this happen, but I want to see if it, the word isn't if it's possible. I kind of just want it to really take place, because the original idea of Bitcoin and being inside the cryptocurrency space was getting away from the fiat system. It was getting away from the system that had bogged us down for so long, where inflation had taken hold and other countries continue to think that they can simply just print money out of a machine, tell their citizens to use it, and therefore that is then money. So if the value prospects of Bitcoin do hold up, once again, if you haven't been watching the last 48 videos, every single day there has been news of either a bank, an institution, a hedge fund, or whatever it might be, getting into Bitcoin, buying millions of dollars. It's never thousands, it's always millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, $500 million worth of Bitcoin. And as we get to that actual crunch, if you will, of supply, I want to see Bitcoin actually pass by the $1 trillion market cap. I want to see it pass by 100K. And I think if we do manage in some sort of way, keeping in mind, if Bitcoin passes by 250,000, I think now it has to be like 232,000 because of the amount of Bitcoin that's being created every day. And we surpass the value of the US dollar, there are going to be economic repercussions that are going to ripple, no pun intended, around the entire world. And I don't think many people are ready. I think people who are early adopters are, you know, along for the ride. But besides that, I think it's going to be a very trying 2021 for people who are, there are a lot of people who are still betting on stocks, on real estate, on gold, on petrol, as opposed to betting on Bitcoin. And I think that's going to be a major shock for all of them. So, yeah, I, of course, would like to see Bitcoin price-wise go up, but it's more of a, when it does, I kind of want to see it happen. I don't know if that's a more accurate way of putting it. I would like to see Ripple really do what they've been talking about. this year and last year and the year before, within the cryptocurrency space, we get a lot of companies, a lot of people continuously talking about what they're going to do, the ventures that they're getting into, what they're planning on and creating. And Ripple has been one of those companies who, along with XRP, if the numbers are to be believed, and they should be because, people have been testing them out, XRP right now, the XRP ledger is one of the fastest blockchains that we actually have. I know, of course, there are some that do 5,000, 10,000 transactions per second, but within like the most followed, the most understood, and also within the last, the top 10 cryptocurrencies out there, one of the major things that they've been talking about, besides Spring and all the other things, has been the actual creation of like a blockchain gaming type system, mainly saying that their system is so robust that they can actually handle all of these things. And I think and I said it was this year, and I think we got the first inklings of that. You can't keep making promises about things that aren't going to happen. Eventually, people catch on, and the entire thing kind of falls apart. Ripple seems well positioned, regardless of the SEC thing or whatever. Within a year, people are going to forget that this SEC thing actually even took place. Whether you believe that or not, I'm telling you right now, people are going to forget. And now it's just a matter of them really expanding. If we can get to a point where Ripple is known as like a gaming company, a hardware company, a payment company, a DeFi company, that'll be absolutely major for adoption. But it's just a matter of that actually happening. I remember hearing this. Yeah, it says March 24th of this year. You'll see some other similarities within this video, because a lot of things, it's not that they've been promised, and I understand that this has been a very trying year, and not everything that was proposed could have been executed and or made and or rolled out during this year. This is why it's called Things I'd Like to See in 2021. Same exact thing here. It says more Japanese pro gamers agreed to receive salaries in XRP. This was also earlier, midway this year, them tying themselves to gaming in some sort of way. I wonder what's going to come of this, because especially if you manage to build it on top of the XRP ledger or games any other type of way, that's a huge amount of transactions that are actually flowing through their chain. I don't understand what really happened. I'm not sure what took place. We stopped receiving news from this, and everything kind of completely fell apart. I mentioned in 2018 and 2019, and it's kind of been my mantra. If your chain, if your coin, if your token is better or stronger or faster or more robust than everyone else's chain, show us what you can do. I want to see it, because I am all but convinced right now as to what the top cryptocurrency is and is always going to be, because nothing else seems to be a contender. Once again, don't get confused. I do assume that a lot of these coins are going to rise up rapidly in price, once again, should we have a parabolic move upward. But it's more of so many other coins and so many other tokens have come out saying what they were going to do, and nothing has really happened. One of the really weird things earlier this year was the people from EOS announcing that they were going to be launching a social media platform called Voice. And I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. Part of the controversy around Voice was that you needed to do some type of a, not a KYC check, but you had to show them documents stating that, hey, this is me, this is definitely who I am, to be able to join the platform as a checked or registered user, to basically be able to say, hey, this is definitely TMI. I'm on the platform. Look at my check. It's definitely me. But they spent a lot of money on this. It says after months of delay and a $150 million cash injection, it finally launched. And then it went nowhere. This was the 4th of July. I haven't heard about it. You haven't heard about it. I know no one who's using it. There was even a podcast earlier this year. I must have mentioned it, and I'll go over rather quickly, where this guy was discussing, this guy from the 1990s. Of course, he's a lot older now, but he was saying in the 90s, he heard about this new thing called the internet, and he wanted to really get into it. He was like, how do I profit from that? People were like, you can buy website names. So he bought, dogs and cats and like the names of websites you would never even have thought of. In 1993, this guy was buying up every single one of them. He said over the years, companies would come to him all the time and somebody would give him a phone call and they'd say, hey, do you still own rocket boots? He would go, yep, I do. We have someone who wants to buy for around, 20,000. He'd go, okay, that's fine. No one, who's going to be using rocket boots? But he said by the time he got to around 2005, 2006, it really began to pick up. Everything was going online and he had hundreds, maybe even thousands of different domain names. So he started selling them off. He said at some point, I believe it was this year, he got a phone call and someone was like, hey, Bob, I don't know if his name is Bob. I just said Bob. Hey, do you still own Voice? And he's like, yeah, I think I do. Why? We have a company here who's looking to buy it for around 20,000. And he was like, nah, it's okay. Because this guy had already made millions upon millions doing his other ventures and also from the actual website names. He's like 20, 30, 40, 50,000 just isn't anything to me. I don't really care about it. 30 minutes later, another phone call. Hey, 55,000? He was like, no, I'm still fine. I don't need 55,000 right now. Called again for 100K, 300K. 500K. He said by the time they got to $500,000, he's like, I'm not dealing with somebody who's trying to, make a website for, people singing. He said, you don't go from 20,000 to $500,000 over the course of a couple of hours without really wanting this name. So I think what it led up to was that the people from EOS, once again, the story, I'm trying to end it quickly, is that they ended up paying, I think it was like $10 million. It was some obscene number for the website Voice. And I was like, I hope that something big comes of this. And then it didn't. So I'm not certain. $150 million into something that doesn't work or no one's using is kind of terrible. I would like to see if this can take off. One of the promises for this new platform was a decentralized social media platform where people could share ideas without having their things taken down or being told not to do so. And just a place, decentralization, something that, everyone's kind of involved in as opposed to just one major player. But it fizzled. Even over here, I was looking around if I could find anything. It's like an EOS Voice podcast. There are no dates next to them, but if you scroll down around here, they have the actual podcast that they uploaded. The podcast number 4 was from the 31st of January of this year. That's the very beginning of the year. And the last uploaded one was episode 6, so I assume that also came out 2 weeks later, so that leaves us around mid-February is when they stopped doing this. Kind of weird. I would like to see this take off. I would like to see people using it. I would like more blockchain things in general to kind of move forward. The only thing I can really assume is that at some point the SEC came to them and were like, hey, because they planned on, for some reason, and I told everyone, hey, this is probably not going to work out. They issued a brand, I think they have voice coins or voice tokens on the platform, which can be exchanged for value, or you can give people your voice and they can so and so. If the things ever have any type of monetary value, the SEC is going to come for them. So I assume the SEC got wind of this and was like, hey, you can't do any of that. As opposed to what I was saying before, they should have just used EOS, the cryptocurrency that they raised $4 billion for. Imagine raising $4 billion for a cryptocurrency and then not using it in anything. Wouldn't it have made more sense if EOS was simply used on the platform and people got paid in EOS? So, when you talk about why am I bullish on Bitcoin, it's because Bitcoin doesn't make promises. Bitcoin doesn't buy up websites and Bitcoin doesn't do any of these things. Bitcoin simply is Bitcoin. And it's been fascinating to see the last couple of years, the projects that have been created, have fallen apart, the money that's flown into the space. Don't forget, didn't Tron spend like $100 million on BitTorrent? Where did that go? So that's I would like to see, there's so many things within the cryptocurrency space. Like, I'm such an optimistic person. I like the idea of moving forward and things happening. Like, imagine if all these things that we were talking about launching had already launched and we had moved 75% as a society into a decentralized world, but these projects never really end up taking off. Another thing that I'd really like to see going in 2021 is Ethereum 2.0. We are here, so we have Ethereum 2.0, but we're still on phase 0. We were promised Ethereum 2.0 by 2017, I believe, but that's neither here nor there. I want to see the world computer that we were promised in 2015 and 2016. I want to see the 1,000 transactions per second, the 10,000 transactions per second, the million transactions per second on top of Ethereum. And I'm hoping that the beginning iterations of that do happen next year. At the moment, whether you want to believe it or not, Ethereum's value prospects are, hey, you can build stuff on top of me, or you can lock up my cryptocurrency to make money. That's it. The first prospect of building things on top of Ethereum is wonderful, but it means nothing if you only can do 15 transactions per second. There was a game that came out in 2018 where you collected photos of cats, and that crashed Ethereum. Like, it didn't go offline, but it was going extremely slow. So I want to see this really take off. I don't want to have people ask me when they're getting into the cryptocurrency space that they've been looking for the top couple coins and they saw something called Ethereum, which a lot of people call, I always laugh. People always say Ethereum. I'm not really sure why, but I find it really funny. That I have to tell them, well, the main thing about it is passive income. Is that it? Yeah, I mean, there's nothing, it's a pretty slow blockchain. Oh, that's cool. What? And then the question always is, well, what's faster? What's better? What else can I get my money into? And within the cryptocurrency space, at least right now, it's not about speed. It's about actual utility. So Ethereum is definitely being used, and we know that people are writing their laws on it and people are doing so and so, but it's not quite there. And I would like to get that really going because it's the second largest coin. And yeah, let's move on. Something that was proposed for this year, and I assume this was no easy feat, so I don't blame them or judge them for taking extra time to be able to implement something like this. Litecoin has historically been seen as a test net for Bitcoin. They have the same source code, I believe, and the idea being that everything that works on Litecoin works on Bitcoin. So MimbleWimble is one of the proposals to give Litecoin private transactions. And that, once again, was proposed for this year. So I can totally understand if they're trying to implement private transactions on top of Litecoin, it may take some time. The energy around it has been is if this does work out for Litecoin, there is really nothing holding Bitcoin back from having private transactions. If we get Litecoin with private transactions during sometime in 2021, expect by the year 2022 or 2023, the proposal will have been put forward to actually implement this on top of Bitcoin. This is, of course, an entirely different discussion, but it's like a, what's it called? I don't think the world knows what to do. We are not used to a world where we can do whatever we want with our money, where money can flow freely at will. So the idea of Bitcoin potentially being $300,000 or $500,000 in 3 to 5 years, no one knows. These are the numbers that have been thrown at us. With private transactions is a bit insane. I want to see Litecoin succeed. Is this also? Yeah. Litecoin has been around for a very long time. It's just a matter of it actually taking shape. We haven't had much Litecoin news quite recently, but I don't expect that Litecoin is going to disappear anytime soon. I don't think it will ever be as big as Bitcoin. But if it leads the way in Bitcoin having private transactions, then that would be absolutely wonderful. I would like to see what Stellar can do. Back in 2017, I'm sure all these people are gone now. Either have left the cryptocurrency space or no longer want to hear my voice. The amount of people who screamed at me, who called me names, who belittled me, and I mean, if I had a checklist, think of every single terrible name you can hear in the book. I was called it. Because I kept on saying, I don't think that Stellar is going to do as well as Ripple. That is to say, the company. Everyone told me I was an idiot. I was yada, yada, yada. You can imagine you have a mini dictionary in your head, so you can kind of guess. One of the things that happened at the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019 was that the Stellar Foundation announced that they had partnered with IBM to create something called WorldWire. And on WorldWire, through IBM, central banks would be able to create their own coins. Anyone who wanted to would be able to create their own currencies, and they would all flow on the Stellar blockchain. We haven't heard anything about this since then. The only thing that we did hear about right here, it says one of the world's oldest banks is issuing a euro stablecoin on Stellar. That was the last Stellar news that we got. That was the 9th of December, and before that we've had no Stellar news. The last Stellar news that we had was either the beginning of this year or the end of last year, when the foundation burned billions of coins because, decentralization. My idea of Bitcoin being the world currency only grows stronger every day, mainly because, and I make this video because I do want to legitimately see these things take off. The adoption for the cryptocurrency space would skyrocket if these things actually, happened, but so many of them aren't going to, and they won't simply happen. So I would legitimately love to see. Whenever someone challenges me, I love challenges. I love for someone to tell me that I can't do something, or that I won't succeed, or that something that I'm betting on or thinking about just simply isn't going to make it. It doesn't hurt me. It only fuels me. It only makes me want to, strengthen my conviction. And at this point, it is seemingly unlikely that Stellar is going to take over Ripple anytime soon, SEC lawsuit or otherwise. But that does not mean, listen, imagine if a cryptocurrency company partnered with IBM and they were the main or one of the main railways that currencies around the world flowed on. How insane would that be? So I'll take this as a potential hint of what's going to happen in the future. I assume there are definitely discussions behind the scenes, but none of this actually ends up being implemented. Yeah. Moving on. I would like to see, here's a good one. I would like Cardano to actually just upgrade when they say they're going to upgrade. And I know I can feel the angry responses in the comment section. Cardano came about around 2017. I heard about it at the beginning of 2017, and right mid-2017, the coin was out there. The amount of times that Cardano, Foundation, team, IOHK has said that they are going to do something or implement something on their blockchain, it's always taken a very long time. It's always it's going to happen in January. It's going to happen in March. Definitely in July. We are looking at an August update now. November 1st is going to be the day. We're looking at a potential January 1st. It's always been the same. I mentioned to you before in another video from a while ago, I happen to know a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space, and I do know someone who works quite close. He's actually not that he's a Cardano member, but he's up there. He mentioned to me that the entire idea was, now I'm getting this from a source, that a lot of what happens is that you put forth proposals and you see what kind of catches on, and then that's what you kind of basically work towards. First of all, Cardano was supposed to be one of the coins that's supposed to overtake Ethereum, and I know a lot of people still believe that it's going to happen. You can't and won't take over or pass by Ethereum if you don't actually upgrade. I think the staking this year was monumental. I am very glad that they finally got that far, but their roadmap is actually still a ways to be finished. And I think one of the biggest hindrances for the Cardano project would be if we don't see the final iteration of all these rollouts until 2027. A lot of people are not going to go for that. So unless I'm mistaken, I remember the Guggen, doesn't matter, rollout was proposed for some time this year as well. It says March 2021 on the screen. I assume we'll be having this discussion again by the 22nd of February, if it's going to actually end up happening. And keep in mind, I don't even know what to say to keep in mind too. It's just a matter of, I want crypto to succeed. I would love a world where there were more than just Bitcoin floating around, because the whole scarcity thing and people not being able to have any Bitcoin is also a bit of a worry in my mind. But other coins actually have to step up and do something before other people can actually start using them. It's one thing to say that you're better than someone else, or you are faster, or you can do this, but if you don't do it, no one's going to actually be using your products. I would love to see a two round rollout next year for Cardano, because a lot of people have been telling me that they're expecting I've seen some $45 Cardano predictions. I'm expecting anywhere between $3 to $10. That's probably as high as I'm going to go, especially if Cardano does well. But yeah, I'd like to see some more Cardano stuff. This year has been very heavily Bitcoin, and it's not even like a pick and choose kind of thing. There just really hasn't been a lot of altcoin news, and when it is, it's kind of a like, this is going to happen in the future for this altcoin kind of news. It hasn't been adoption, it hasn't been anything else. Anyway, moving on to the last thing. I'm sure many of you will remember this. For those of you not looking at the screen, this is an article from 2018. It says, Ripple CEO says dozens of banks will use its cryptocurrency product in 2019. We know what's happened. We know what has not happened. We've had news for quite some time that they have actually partnered with tons of banks around the world. I understand progress sometimes is quite slow or may not happen immediately or overnight. 2018. We are moving into 2021. After the regulatory cloud has subsided, this is it. This is actually the moment that a lot of people have been waiting for a long time. It's the idea is if it's a security or if it's not a security. Once we have that answer stamped on a piece of paper, written in stone, and everyone knows, it'll then be the test of who's going to actually use their products. I can only assume, and I have to assume because I'm not in the room with these people. People say that I assume a lot. What else am I going to do? I don't know Brad Garlinghouse. I can't text him and be like, hey, bro, you guys doing okay? That's just not how it actually works. I assume for him to be brave enough to put forth a statement like that, you would have to have an indication that there are dozens, once again with an S. 1 dozen is 12. Dozens, at least, is 24 banks. Have had discussions with them in an effort to say, hey, we want to use your coin or your product. Did not happen. I want it to happen. I want all these things that all these projects have been saying to really come to fruition. Don't forget, I do hold altcoins as well. I'm also betting on other altcoins. Like I do, not even in theory, I want them to also succeed. But if they don't, I've hedged my bets. But how great would it be if by, let's say, March or April, we have proper clarity and then every single month we get news that 3 more banks are going to be using XRP? Just a matter of, implementation. I think a lot of coins are not going to fare very well if Bitcoin starts rocketing towards $500,000. It's going to start draining the value from those coins because people are going to want to make as much profit as they could have made from simply having had Bitcoin before. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a 2-parter. There's a lot of other stuff I would love to happen in the cryptocurrency space. I just simply didn't want to have a 3-hour video. But yeah, I do hope that you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts as well, because I'm pretty sure I missed a whole bunch of things, but there's always so much happening so many things that are being said, and I'm missing a lot. There are a lot of other projects and other things that were said by cryptocurrency, whatever, that probably are never going to come true. But I also, just didn't want to just, throw them into this video. But I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.